There's few weeks that can stack up to what we're about to embark upon with the regular season in the books. There's the holidays, Christmas week for me. It turns into an entire month, wrapping itself around the new year. Spring break trips in the summer as well. And then there is conference tournament week in college baseball. And for David Kahn and myself, Kyle Schassburger, half of the quadruplets that will be heading to Hoover beginning on Monday. And I am excited. We've got brackets across every conference tournament, every league that celebrates coming up this week. David Kahn and I are here over the next 45 minutes to an hour to talk about it. And a final weekend in the regular season that was certainly triumphant, exciting, thrilling in a number of different ways. Hopefully you can keep up with all the tiebreakers in the SEC and elsewhere, and shared conference championships for the regular season, something Kahn and I are certainly in agreement upon. We will get to all of that, as much of it as we can. Just another day in the life, too, of Scotty Scheffler. DK, I don't know if you were able to catch him run away. What, he win by 100 strokes out at Quail Hollow?
5, yeah.
Gosh.
On 11 under, as John Rahm collapsed in epic fashion.
My guy. I was listening to PJ Tour radio after Pudge's practice. She had softball practice here on Sunday. You and I are coming to the folks live on Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers. Thank you to all those that subscribe and support the channel. OG listeners, wherever you podcast college sports now. I'm at Kyle Shass. He's at SportsCon4. So we're squeezing an episode before we hit the road for Hoover. The SEC tournament will start with 4 games on Tuesday, bright and early in the morning. Tim Bickford, David Kahn, myself, Gabe Genovese will have the night session Tuesday and Wednesday. And then we shift to just 2 games Thursday, 2 games Friday, the semifinals on Saturday, championship game on Sunday. So we reorganized format with the addition of Texas, who is the regular season champion. They earned the number 1 overall seed in the SEC. We'll bounce around all the big leagues, some of the non-P4 ones too. Oregon State just hanging out in the clubhouse, 41-12 won 117 of their last 19, if you're not counting the tie against Iowa last weekend. Didn't lose a game that they weren't supposed to this week, so they're sitting pretty. They get to rest up. We even have the debut of the Big West tournament. We'll get to all that, but Con, before we really go nitty-gritty on the baseball stuff, I got to ask you about your pickleball escapades, the trials and tribulations from this past weekend. So I know both you and I had some busy weekends with Hoover, again, in the backdrop that we have tried to dial ourselves into.
Yeah, I did. It actually did not end up being as crazy of a pickleball weekend as it was supposed to be, because my tournament on Saturday got rained out. It was supposed to start at 9 in the morning, and I woke up at 7 to get ready to go out to Greensboro, and I got an email saying we are not starting on time. We are delaying the start until noon due to rain in the area. We will update you around 10 with, if we can get if the courts are dry enough to start at noon. So 10 passes and I hear nothing. So I'm like, okay, either I drive out there and I get screwed, or I email and hope they email back. And so I emailed the tournament director and was like, hey, yo, update. Like, I'm 35 minutes away. Like, are we playing? And he's like, oh, sorry, I was about to send an email. We're not playing. And I'm like, bro, like, brutal. I had to I woke up at 7 a.m. Like, I bought extra, body armor light, snacks to bring to power myself through this day. And it didn't happen. So half of my pickleball was destroyed. And then on Sunday, today, I did play about 4 hours of pickleball. 2 matches, won 3 out of the 5 games that I played. So it was good. Got out there tired, but utilized the body armor light, or the IV, I should say, the body armor IVs that I bought, and the snacks to fuel my body as I continued to paddle balls at people for hours on end. But it was fun. It was, still had a good time. Used the Saturday to my advantage. Actually got outside and visited the quarry. Never been to the quarry. Have you ever been to the quarry?
The quarry park?
Yeah. Beautiful place. Never been there.
Yeah, I took Pudge and her brother there years ago. They got that nice little overhang too over the water. You got all the locks that are there in like the cage and the overhead like, I don't know how you would describe it. I'm trying. Yeah. What is the deal with that stuff? Because they do that in Pittsburgh,
in Paris,
on the big bridge.
So it all comes from Paris. So there's a bridge in Paris where lovers go to put a lock down to signify their everlasting love. And so people do it elsewhere, like Pittsburgh on the Three Rivers Bridge, the bridge that goes over the Allegheny River. It's been done at the quarry, but it all comes from Paris.
I had no idea. I was today days old when I learned about lovers leaving a lock on some landmark or turning it into a landmark themselves by displaying their love for each other. So, but yeah, originally it's something of stature, a man-made Goliath that they were just adding their lot to. So little known fact, very, very cool. I'm glad you were able to experience the Quarry Park. I'm glad too you got all your IVs and your liquid necessities all handled for yourself. Only you would go those leaps and bounds to be that prepared, but I wouldn't expect anything less. For me, I'm just winging it. I'm coming with a water bottle and nothing else. Maybe some kinesiology tape to wrap around my, but that'd be about it. So I'm sorry you got wiped out on Saturday, but at least you got something in on Sunday. I called a couple of baseball games. It was good to get some reps. So the Hoppers ended up getting back with me, and you helped to coordinate that initially. So fill-in work for our buddy Andrew Allison. Certainly thinking of him, who works with us, one of the Learfield brethren, who lost his mother this past weekend after a long battle with Alzheimer's. So certainly thinking of him, and he's the voice of the Grasshoppers in their video stream. So he went back home to Ohio, and we're all trying to pull the rope and help out as best we can. So I thought I was going to step in Friday and Saturday. Just was needed on Saturday. Chase Williams, one of our hosts, was able to fill in on Friday. Actually, Gavin, I think, had reached out to him, Con, just to clue you in. Things we could obviously talk about offline, but why not? This is our podcast. So screw you if you don't like it. We'll get to the college baseball. But then the Rockers called me early Friday, and it was the day of. And Steve Shutt, old SID with still had my contact info. So he had reached out, and I was like, well, yeah, I kind of had already cleared my schedule one time on Friday night and then learned that I didn't have to do it. So, yeah, I can pinch it 10 minutes down the road as long as you allow me to bring my daughter in the booth. So Pudge engineered.
Yes.
She was in the booth for the first time during my broadcast career, which was awesome to have the little one there, the 9-year-old. She was fascinated. She enjoyed it. She ate it up. Was able to read a little bit, color, gave her the phone, or she had her phone, which acts more as a tablet. There's no service really attached to it. Had the headphones on and was TikToking her little booty away. And she said after the game, my butt hurts because she was sitting for so long. But there was times where she was standing over my shoulder, looking out the window. She was seated behind me as I had the regular Brandon Howe sitting next to me in the booth. He was dealing with some vocal cord issues. So
I was going to ask where he was.
And they threw an intern into the fire on Thursday on the road in Lexington, Kentucky for the other team. So somebody that they really didn't have a true scout of, but trusted the Lexington Legends, the independent league. That's where the High Point Rockers hail from. Yeah. Well, for the folks that don't know, High Point Rockers, indie ball. This is a minor league ball, but it's indie ball. Still produce some big league talent, some washed up talent, for lack of a better word, but still some good can be some high-quality baseball and a fun night at the yard. And that's what it was Friday broadcasting the game. But they threw a kid from Lexington's side of things in to call the game on Thursday, and it did not go well. You talk about a nightmare scenario for some kid debuting on the mic who had no idea what he was doing, apparently, and it was like he didn't even know how to call a ball hit into play. So I feel for him, but you don't want that happening on, what we would consider the biggest stage, at least respect for the craft, right? So they wanted to find someone a little more reliable when they shifted back home on Friday, at least for a night. So hopefully Brendan went on Saturday. But yeah, I got 2 games in, so I'm feeling good. The vocal cords are percolating. I've already been hawking down lozenges and drinking some throat coat, some hot tea, and we're ready to go, man. I'm excited. So is there anything else we need to talk about before we talk about baseball? Like
you just reminded me, I have to pack my favorite flavor of tea for Hoover, because they have crap tea at the hotel. So I need to pack some good tea bags for the hotel. So thank you for that. I have my lozenges. I always have those with me.
I'll give you a tea bag.
I knew you were going to say that.
I'll tell you what I will give you. It's a Borgo ball. I'm ready to put this in my bag right after we get done with this podcast. I grabbed it.
It's already in there.
And I've got it right here so I don't forget. I got one at the office. I would forget that one. I keep one at home.
Oh, I brought that one.
This is coming with me on the trip. It's going right in my backpack after we give them some love right here. Mr. Bergogno had to call out, I think it was the Baseball King Twitter social account yesterday, because they ripped off a video and it posted about playing ball in the house when your mom isn't home, and just were posting the video, but giving no love, like not even accrediting what it is or dropping a website or telling folks, like just kind of, amplifying the video of that has gotten 3.7 million views on social media. So I slid into those replies, and I'm like, hey, put some respect on the Borgo Ball name, backyardbaseballbros.com. Go there right now, or you're going to be the next one to catch a Borgo ball in your skull, just like David Kahn did on Thursday when we were live potting. I'm going to do it again.
I still have a concussion.
Do it. BackyardBaseballBros.com. Race
That's why
scenes,
I'm
most mimic a real
drinking.
baseball. Yeah. Oh, you do get a drink. Is that apple juice?
No, it's a whiskey and ginger ale in my Ryder Cup whiskey glass that I purchased on my trip to New York back in April.
Ryder Cup whiskey glass. I like that. Nice rocks glass, man. Good for you. Whiskey and ginger. I might have a couple pops, if you will, once we complete this thing and I start cramming some late SEC prep in advance of our trip tomorrow. BackyardBaseballBros.com. Go get the Borgo Bowl now. They just restocked 4 packs, $19.99. Get them now. Their balls have dropped. So should yours. BackyardBaseballBros.com. David Kahn, you want to start in the SEC or should we start elsewhere?
No, let's start in the SEC. That's where our brain is filtered right now, and there was great action all across all of college baseball. But let's start where we're focused on right now. There was some major headlines, across several series. The biggest one, obviously, is that Texas did get it done. They led by 2 games going into the final weekend of the regular season, and they managed to defeat Oklahoma 2 of 3 in Norman. They win the first SEC edition of the Red River rivalry, and they finish with their best regular season record since 2010 for Texas, 42-11, 22-8 in the SEC. They become the first team to win the SEC regular season title in their first season in the league since the league became a league in 1933. So Texas is only the second team ever to win the SEC in their first season in the league. So big one for Texas. And the biggest news, Shass, for the Longhorns, Max Ballou is back. And he came back in a loud way on Thursday against Oklahoma when he had a 3-run homer in the top of the 9th against their closer, the all-worldly Dylan Crooks, and he won the game for Texas. So how about that for the Horns to hook their way to an SEC regular season title?
Yeah, I was not expecting that. I'm going to try and share my screen now, which is something I rarely do. Kahn is the screen extraordinaire. But let me see if I can get a window. Yeah, got this. I'm going to show the SEC tournament bracket just because it's one of the few that I actually downloaded to my laptop as I was sending out affiliate emails. I got Sunbelt bracket, I got you covered. SEC bracket, I got you covered. Even the American, I can help you there as well, Mr. Pernetti. Which, by the way, can we scrap that format? What are we doing sending 8 teams with double elimination? Single elimination, please.
Bro.
Oh, DoorDash is here. We got a sushi bowl en route. Door is open. Hang on. Live play-by-play. The bag is grabbed. The door is open. The door is closed. Oh, the excitement on the face of the recipient who has the sushi bowl. She is toting it with the right hand. She is holding her left finger up to be quiet as if she is trying to be quiet, but she is distracting and providing extra entertainment. Sushi bowl is here. Okay. We'll come back to the American.
Double elimination for the Big East.
Oh, my gosh. This is brutal. This is dumb. Are they doing I think the Big West is double too with 4 teams.
Yeah, it is. But it's their first year. All right, I'm going to give them a break.
Yeah, cut them some slack.
And they're actually doing 5 teams. But the first game on the first day is a single elim, and then it's double elimination for the 4 that make it. Why are we overcomplicating this, dude? Like, what are we doing?
And we're losing 2 games in Hoover. And I'm kind of bummed slightly, but at the same time, I just think it's a more efficient run of the week. It just seems to make a hell of a lot more sense.
I'm okay with it. You and I are going to go golfing at Hoover Country Club.
Yeah, especially when we incentivize the top 4 seeds, right? Which are Texas, Arkansas, LSU, and Vanderbilt. Those 4 don't have to play until Thursday and Friday. Arkansas and LSU both get until Friday. 3 o'clock is game 1 on each of those days, both Thursday and Friday. So you're playing late afternoon, okay? Game 1 of 2. Texas on Thursday, Vanderbilt on Thursday, then Arkansas on Friday, followed up by LSU. I think it's just staggered wonderfully, and it's going to be able to allow these teams, these top 4 seeds, much like the ACC, by the way, which has adopted this model. We've talked about this at length, but just to remind those who might be new to the program or getting into it later on their drive to work on Monday or maybe a couple of days earlier in the week, reminder, just one podcast. We're sorry, we apologize in advance, but listening to us on the Varsity Network app or SiriusXM for the SEC tournament. we're incentivizing things where these top 4 seeds can line up their pitching like a regular weekend. And hey, maybe they feel like they actually have something to play for, because we forget these coaches and players, like, they do have the competitive juices, right? It just doesn't completely disappear when they get to this week, but it can be easier to mail it in if you're Arkansas and you lose game 1 on, let's say, Wednesday, when you're not playing on day 1 of the tournament, because you don't want to burn through all of the pitching. So now you have a legit opportunity where you just have to win 1, 2, and 3 games to be tournament champions. Hell yeah, sign me up for that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I love the format for this and the ACC. And here's the team that I'm most interested in watching play this week in Hoover. And I'm so glad that I'm calling their game on Wednesday. It's Georgia. Because as I mentioned on Thursday's podcast, Georgia is the epitome of lay down and die in the SEC tournament because it doesn't matter to them. Like, and it hasn't, right? They went one and done last year. We thought, okay, there's no way they're going to be a top 8. And then they were a top 8. Well, guess what? They just took 2 of 3 from Texas A&M to close the year. They seem like a top 8 lock. So I'm so curious if Georgia, because now everything's single elimination, not like last year when they played on Tuesday and it was the only single elimination day. I am so curious if the Georgia Bulldogs give a crap here in Hoover. Like I just really want to see, and because it's like, okay, you only got to play 4 games. You can line up your pitching. You can go with your midweek guy, and then you can go your regular starting rotation for the teams that play on Wednesday. So there is a path, and you get a bye on Friday. But I also am curious, like, for Georgia's sake, if you think you're a lock as a top 8 and it doesn't matter, do you just decide to rest for the week? That's also my question for a team like West Virginia, who is in all kinds of trouble right now. They're not going to host anymore. They won the Big 12 regular season title. Congratulations. But they are in all kinds of hurt in the back end of that bullpen, and we'll get into that later on when we talk about the Big 12. But I'm just curious about some of these teams that think it doesn't matter. I can't really do anything this week. This week doesn't benefit me. So with the single elimination format, they're not going to play to lose, but like they may not necessarily play to win, if that makes sense.
I think the winner of this tournament comes out of the bottom half of the bracket. I really think it does. I think it sets up beautifully for Arkansas. I think Mississippi State is playing hot. Let me give you my quick 1 sentence or 2 sentences on each of these first-round matchups, because I think they are all extremely fascinating. Even with you and Tim Bickford getting 16-seed Missouri, yeah, they got swept like we thought they were going to 3 weeks ago when Chris Lemonis was fired, and how Mississippi State was that close to actually working themselves back into the hosting picture. Well, they're the 11th seed, but Missouri came back down to earth after sweeping Texas A&M. They get swept by the Bulldogs at home, but Missouri saved all of their pitching. They got all their starters to bring back up and pony up to win 1 game to advance them at least into the second round. They have everyone available for 9-seeded Alabama. Alabama coming off a series loss to Florida, still, I think, a legitimate host, but if they were to lose to Missouri, when Missouri is clearly focused on doing all they can to win game 1, Alabama loses that game, they're out of the hosting picture. Door opens for somebody like Florida, or maybe even Southern Miss, who has now won 15 games in a row. They swept Troy, the first series that Troy lost this past weekend. Oklahoma and Kentucky played 2 weeks ago. Kentucky swept Oklahoma. Now they're having to come right back to the table. OU won what? Just the 1 game over Texas in the rivalry weekend this past weekend. But, I mean, that is fascinating. A brand of baseball from both of them that can be, not easy in the eyes at times. I know I'm a Kentucky hater. I always appear to come across that way. But still, I think OU and UK. What?
I can't wait for that. Chaos versus Mingione ball? Hell yeah. Give me that.
Very different styles. So, yes, them clashing up against each other. Florida and South Carolina. Palminteri experiment has failed miserably at SC. They did win game 1 against LSU, but then it seemed for a time that Palminteri forgot he was still the coach of South Carolina and not the coach of LSU in the postgame press conference. Florida loses Luke Heyman. The injuries continue to pile up. Heyman's out for the year with a fractured forearm after getting hit on the wrist. It appears to go from bad to worse. Yeah, Florida just continues to keep on winning. Aiden King was flawless again on Saturday. I think he's going to be the freshman of the year in the SEC. Mississippi State, Ace Reese could be player of the year in the SEC. I don't think we've spoke about Ace Reese but maybe 1 or 2 times all season. That dude might win league player of the year, and they have Texas A&M, who just was able to win the 1 game at Foley Field. So, Auburn can just as easily win it all. I'm not sure about Ole Miss. Georgia, I don't think they're going to go 1 and done for a 4th straight year. So I'm with you. I'm excited to see what Georgia brings here in their debut on Wednesday. Tennessee, I mean, they lost 6 out of their last 7 series, backsliding into this thing, dropping 2 games after winning game 1 over Arkansas. How do they respond against either Alabama or Missouri? And people have thrown a fit here, Connor. I'll lob it back to you about some of the seeding. Must we remind people? And we started to go over some of these tiebreakers a couple of weeks back. It's combined record against common opponents. So while Tennessee is the 8th seed ahead of Alabama, I think there were questions on Ole Miss being a 7 ahead of Tennessee when Tennessee had won that series over Ole Miss. Alabama factoring in there, those 3, 7, 8, 9. I mean, you can interchange any one of them, but it's combined record against common opponents.
Yes, it is combined record against common opponents when you have that 3-way tie like that. So it's very convoluted. And here's the thing. Seeding is starting to matter more in these tournaments when you have them set up the way we do in Hoover, in Durham for the ACC, in Arlington for the Big 12 with single elimination. Because as you just eloquently laid out earlier in the show, the top 4 seeds get a double bye. Arkansas is not playing until Friday. Neither is LSU. Texas and Vanderbilt aren't playing until Thursday in the SEC. So it's like, last year, if you brought this up, I'd say, who gives a crap? Like, it doesn't matter. You're 7, 8, 9. Who cares? Just play the tournament and see what happens. But like now, seeding is absolutely paramount because now I granted 7, 8, 7 and 7 and 8 are have that bye into Wednesday. So like that's important because 9 through 16 play on Tuesday in Hoover. So 7 and 8 do matter. Like that delineation does make a difference. It saves you a day of having to play this week before you get ready for postseason. So I get the gripe about seeding, but these have always been the tiebreakers. So it's coming to more light now. People are griping about it more because of the fact that they actually mean something at this point. In years past, it was whatever, 7, 8, 9, see what happens. Double elimination. You have a chance to get up off the mat and clean it up the next day. You don't anymore. So 7, 8, 9 really does matter at this point. So I do get the gripe, but the tiebreakers have been the tiebreakers. They're not going to change. And so you kind of just have to live with it. Can we talk about Florida for a second and how you said Florida just continues to keep winning? So they take 2 of 3 from Alabama. I think Florida, unless they go one and done this week, is a host. I think they've done enough. They started 1-11 in the SEC. They finished winning 14 of their last 18 in conference play, 37-19, 15-15 in the SEC, 12 in the RPI, number 3 strength of schedule. They win 6 straight SEC series to close the year, going 17-5 since April 8th. Aiden King, as you mentioned, probably the SEC freshman of the year. He's only allowed 2 runs in his last 4 starts, 20 2/3 innings of masterful work. Florida, Shass, is going to become the first SEC team to ever reach the NCAA tournament after starting conference action 2-10 or worse since the SEC expanded back in 1992. How about that for Kevin O'Sullivan's battered and injury-riddled Gators?
Are you pulling this off the OneNote, or did you do your own prep?
I did my own prep, baby.
Dude, I got all this in the OneNote, man. You were double working. Just pull up the Gators. Anyways, they shouldn't have won game 1 against Alabama either.
No.
They were down 5-0. They were down 5-0. They came back, and it was Sully's 500th career win at home. Mm-hmm. Wild stuff. 7-6 win, won the rubber match, 9-3. We talked about it last week. Maybe a knockout game between Florida and Alabama from a hosting perspective. I think Alabama's only knocked out of the hosting picture, though, if they lose the first game of this tournament to Missouri. The only thing I want to add on the SEC, and really we can move on because it's been almost 30 minutes. We talked about ourselves for 13, and it's been another 13 here in the SEC. We're not doing too hot here and trying to spread the ball around. Shocker. Vanderbilt and Kentucky. How many times is Vanderbilt going to walk off Kentucky?
Oh, my God.
I think it just happened again.
Dude.
I think it just happened again. You had Holcomb on Thursday. You had Jonathan Vastine, who homered twice, delivered the walk-off on Friday night. And then I think they were down in game 3 and then came back to win. It wasn't a walk-off. But, I mean, even going back to last year, I think those first 2 games of the series, the Thursday-Friday walk-offs with Holcomb and Vastine, made it 3 consecutive walk-offs against Kentucky going back to last year.
And 3 consecutive walk-offs at home on consecutive home games.
Yeah.
Because I think they walked off, what was it, South Carolina 2 weeks back, and then they come back 2 home series later and hit 2 in a row against Kentucky. Like, oh no, it was Alabama. It was
Yeah, it's
Alabama. Holcomb did it against Alabama. 8 days later, they come back home. Holcomb does it again against Kentucky, and then Bastine the next day. I mean, they are the clutch kings of the SEC right now, the Vanderbilt Commodores.
Incredible.
Awesome
Incredible
stuff, man.
stuff.
One thing we also should mention, Texas A&M, they're done.
Yeah, they've got to at least make it to the championship game, I think.
Yeah, otherwise they're out.
And even that might not be enough. So
I think they got to win it all. Honestly,
yeah,
I think they have to win. I don't think they have any chance at an at-large, no matter what. They
so
have backed themselves into a corner that they cannot emerge from, getting swept by Missouri and losing 2 of 3 to Georgia.
we do have. I had just logged into D1 Baseball. We do have some projections that did go live today. I knew that was coming. I know I had questions in our internal chat with Hoover.
Oh, we do.
Folks, Gabe
We
and Tim
do.
and yourself. And I saw Kendall tease this that it was coming out. So how many? Do get a quick conference check. Okay, so right now D1Baseball.com is projecting 13 to the SEC. So that leaves A&M out. No Missouri, no South Carolina. All 3 of those teams would have to win the league. Maybe A&M can make it by getting to Sunday, but certainly for South Carolina and Missouri, it's not going to happen. They would have to win the whole thing. The ACC has got 11 bids, Big 12 with 8, Big 10 with 3. I'm guessing that third is Iowa, getting the benefit of the doubt, right?
Probably.
Would have to.
Yeah.
And then
Oregon, UCLA, Iowa. Yeah.
Yeah, Sunbelt with 3, Big East with 2. Those are your only multi-bid teams, leagues.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that tell you?
Big
That
West.
tells you that the Big West would probably would definitely be bid thievery if it's not UC Irvine, who just dropped 2 out of 3 at home to Cal State Fullerton, who's now hosting this 5-team event this weekend. What are we doing? But Cal Poly's right there finishing a game behind UC Irvine. I hope it's Larry Lee and them ponies, okay?
Yeah.
Because them ponies ain't pink, but they deserve the nod, all right? They deserve the nod.
They can come to our club, all right? They can come to our club.
They're always welcome in our club. But the other one is the Southland Con, and we'll get to the Southland coming up.
Oh, my God.
Here, give you an update on the 2 brackets because that thing is just combusted in ways that were never fathomable. Just complete chaos, bonker stuff in the Southland. A league that was projected to have 2, and now it's according to D1Baseball.com, it's just the automatic bid, baby. And it's going to go to a team. And it's going to go to a team that never should have been included in any discussions for being an at-large, certainly probably after the first couple of weeks of the season. I mean, there was no chance for all of this season for them to be a postseason team unless they had won this thing. And who would have thunk it? It's between an 8 seed and a 6 seed. We'll circle back to them. So the projections are out. We're looking at them in real time here late on Sunday night. I just gave you the league breakdowns.
I'll give you the movement. So change in the top 8. Oregon moves into the top 8 after brooming Iowa in Iowa City. Your surefire lock, ka-ching, for Kyle Schassburger, now 6-4 on the season, as Oregon wins a share of the Big Ten tournament title. They're the Big Ten champs.
Okay,
sorry, UCLA, you lost to Oregon in the regular season. It's Oregon. They're the champs. All right, go Ducks! Quackity quack quack quack. Oregon is in the top 8. Florida State drops out because North Carolina went down to Tallahassee and delivered a Tallahassee to the Seminoles. All right, that was gross what they did to Florida State. It was just gross. Okay, they destroyed them in every way, shape, or form, and Florida State should be embarrassed. That was bad. You go to the top 6. You go to this top 16. Alabama losing to Florida. NC State losing 2 of 3 to Stanford at home.
Wait, State lost 2 of 3 to the Cardinal
in Raleigh.
Oh my gosh!
And then West Virginia, who got swept by Kansas. Brutal. 3 brutal losses. They're out of the top 16. Meanwhile, Clemson, who got up off the mat and kicked the crap out of Pittsburgh. So they sweep the Panthers. Needed it bad. Southern Miss, you already mentioned, beat Troy 15 in a row for the Golden Eagles. And Georgia Tech, who is your ACC regular season champion. The storybook final season continues for Danny Hall and them boys in Hotlanta. Georgia Tech wins the ACC. All right. Congratulations to Danny Hall. What a way to go out in your final season. ACC regular season champs. Georgia Tech's now a host, according to D1 Baseball. So we will see what happens there. But that's the changes in the 16. Bama, NC State, West Virginia out, rightfully so. Clemson, Southern Miss, Georgia Tech in. The prevailing thought is that Alabama and West Virginia, if they play well in their conference tournament, could get back into the swing of things hosting-wise. But hard to argue against Southern Miss or Georgia Tech. Southern Miss is the hottest team in college baseball right now, not named Northeastern. And then Georgia Tech won the ACC. So hard to not put them in, right?
Yeah, and you can say, based on what you just said, like if a team like Georgia Tech stumbles in the ACC and West Virginia decides to give the Big 12 a good old try and actually win a few games and actually care about being there, they could play their way back into that host spot. Because Georgia Tech kind of is, I mean, they fizzled at the end. Ever since we talked to Danny Hall as part of this retirement tour, they backslid a bit. They took a step back. However, they rebounded over the last couple of weeks. Got to give it to them, tip of the cap. And they went to Durham, and they took 2 out of 3 from Duke. So right now they're the 16 overall seed, which is paired with Texas, the number 1 overall seed, Tennessee, Arizona State, and Columbia, all visiting Atlanta. And the latest projections, and West Virginia falling to the 2 line in the Tallahassee Regional, Florida State, the 11, paired with Auburn, the 6, which features Duke, Troy, and Long Island. Mississippi State currently slated as a 3 going to Tallahassee. Holy cow.
Put some respect on the Bulldogs' name.
Yeah, FSU, West Virginia, Mississippi State, then Bethune-Cookman. That's interesting. Okay.
Give me Mississippi State, please. Good Lord. They are hot as hell. They haven't lost a series since Chris Leonis was given the backseat.
So we just took a detour to the projections, only because they came up in conversation. I knew they would. Let's use the opportunity of talking about the ACC and Big 12 just for me to ping pong some of these other seeds, and then you take it wherever you want to go. In the ACC, Georgia Tech does draw the number 1, no more pool play. The event shifts to Durham from Charlotte. It'll be at the DBAP. Georgia Tech, the 1, Florida State, the 2, North Carolina, the 3, who salvaged game 3 against Florida State. NC State still able to get that number 4 seed. So they 2 get the double bye. Big 12, West Virginia does earn the 1, Kansas, the 2, TCU, the 3, Arizona is the 4. And in the Big 10, Oregon, UCLA, each 22-8, Iowa 21-9. They're the 3 seed. USC, who has stumbled a bit as of late, 18-12. They are the 4 seed. And Oregon, UCLA, this is another example. And there's a couple others. I know you got one in the Big East with Creighton and UConn. A shared regular season championship. Oregon took 2 out of 3 from UCLA. It's not like these 2 teams didn't play. They played during the regular season. Oregon took 2 out of 3 in Eugene over the Bruins, yet Oregon and UCLA are going to split the Big Ten regular season trophy. This is blasphemous. What are we, in kindergarten? What is this, 3rd grade? I got to share my toy with somebody. I went to church this morning, and the priest talked about when he was taking all the kids to the back room for their own liturgy, away from the adults. Talked about love, talked about the commandment love, okay? And how we wanted to love each other the way that Jesus had loved us. Yes, I'm preaching, okay? Come on, I'm on a high. Let me go. Let me cook. Well, the kid was asked, what do you do when somebody loses their dog or the dog runs away? Well, you put an arm on their shoulder and you try to be there for them. What do you do when somebody's sad or maybe their toy breaks or something of that nature? And the one kid said, I'll share my toy. I'll share my truck. Like, that's what it's come to. That's what it reminds me of. Like, we're just going to share this trophy just because they got the same record, just because they're breathing the same air as me. This 3rd grade kid, he deserves to play with my truck. No, that's my truck. My parents bought me that truck. I ain't sharing it with nobody. Car truck, that's mine, brother.
This reminds me of rec league sports, like soccer or basketball, where everyone gets a participation trophy at the end of the season, even if you lost every game. And it's like, bro, these aren't kids. They can take it. It doesn't really matter if you don't get the regular season title. Like, it's great that you do. And for Oregon, congrats. It's their first Big Ten. It's their first conference championship since 1974 for the Ducks. So big props to them winning their last 10 games of the season, not taking anything away. But not winning the regular season title doesn't mean jack squat as long as you got into the postseason. Because all it is get me in that field of 64 and let me do damage. That's all that matters. So if you don't win the regular season title, no one's going to be butthurt. No one's going to be like, oh, are you kidding me? I didn't win the regular season title. Booty freaking who? No, they don't care. They want to go to Omaha and dogpile at the end of June. That's the title they care about. They don't give a rat's ass about the not winning the regular season title. So you can get rid of this whole share nonsense and crown the rightful champion. All right.
And you think UCLA wouldn't understand? Like, what are they gonna
Yeah.
throw a fit
can you argue?
just because they didn't earn a shared title? They lost 2 out of 3 in Eugene.
Yeah.
Like, I think they can process that one okay and move on with their lives because there are bigger fish to fry, greater objectives that are lying in the wait. Who cares about this shared thing? Same thing with Creighton, who gets the 1 seed in the Big East.
Yeah.
UConn gets the 2. There's another example. They shared the regular season Big East championship.
Yeah, that's correct. And you know who won the series? Creighton in the regular season. They took 2 of 3. It's the last series UConn lost. It's the only Big East series they lost, I'm pretty sure. So, like, there's no argument. Creighton beat you in the regular season. You finished with the same record. The tiebreaker, head-to-head, Creighton is the Big East champion. Period. End of discussion. There is no retort. You cannot, if you're a cross-examiner, you can't, or like a lawyer, and you want to cross-examine the witness, you walk up to the stand and you go, yeah, I got nothing. I rest. That's it. That's all that would happen because you can't argue head-to-head. And it happened. And they lost. Now, if we had a series where it was Coastal and Southern Miss and they were tied, they didn't play this year. So then it gets all hairy. And then I maybe understand sharing the Sun Belt. But Coastal won the Sun Belt by 2 games. They didn't lose. They took care of Old Dominion on the road this weekend, and they win the Sun Belt outright. Congratulations to the Chanticleers. First year with a new head coach. Well done. Marvelous season. And they will be a force to be reckoned with in the postseason. But let's say that happens. You have Coastal and Southern Miss tied at the end of the regular season with no head-to-head. Yeah, you can share the title. Then I'll allow it. But if you've played the other team in the regular season, hell no. Give the team that won the series the title. Come on.
The Big East tournament is not one that I'm going to share on the screen, but because we talked ACC, can you see this one?
Yeah,
just visually.
Is there an option to make view full screen? Scroll up a little bit.
Well, here's the problem. When I went to go share the screen, I clicked on the wrong actual. That's why you are the expert at this. But hang on,
right,
I'm doing my best because I put it on a separate. Here it is. This is the one I wanted. Yeah, the PDF. Can you see that?
Yeah, there you go.
Thing? Yeah, that's much better.
Same thing, but that's fine. It's okay. You did your best.
All right, so you got Miami as the 9, taking on the 16-seed Cal, 12-seeded Virginia Tech, 13-seeded Stanford, 10-seeded Louisville, 15-seeded Pitt. 4th game of the day on Tuesday, number 11 Notre Dame, 14-seeded Boston College. The second round will feature 8-seeded Wake Forest, waiting the winner of Miami, Cal, Clemson, also looking for either the Hokies or the Cardinal. Pitt Louisville winner will have the Blue Devils, who is the 7th seed. Virginia, the 6th, will have Notre Dame or Boston College, and we already gave you the top 4. So that's the way, just visually, if you want to look at it, and you're watching here in Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers, you can see it right there. I'm done sharing. Anything else on the ACC tournament? I'm just trying to move. I'm just trying to move along.
No, how about our boy Drew Burris? All right, 2 4-hit days this weekend with a home run in the finale, and he just continues to rake for Georgia Tech. All right, Drew Burris, put some respect on the name. Georgia Tech, by the way, also tying its best regular season record since 2010, going 39-16, 19-11 in the ACC. And we should shout out Virginia. They did get 2 out of 3 against Virginia Tech that they needed. So good on the Cavaliers and Brian O'Connor. So shouts to Virginia for doing what they needed to do. In the Big 12, there's not a ton to talk about as we pivot over there, but I'll hit the highlights and you can chime in with anything. So you mentioned
hang on, I got that one. Hang on.
All right. Bring it on up.
I just got to make sure when I hit share screen.
Well, I'm recapping the weekend first, so you can bring this up. So West Virginia won the regular season title, but they got swept by Kansas. The Mountaineers have now lost 6 of their last 7. It is the first outright Big 12 regular season title for West Virginia ever. Their second Big 12 championship in 3 years. They shared the title in 2023. But West Virginia Shass, their bullpen is in all kinds of trouble. They allowed 26 runs in the 8th or 9th inning during this 6 of 7 losing. In those 6 losses, they're their last 7 games overall. No, sorry, in just the 6 losses. In those 6 losses in the last 7 games, they've allowed 26 runs in the 8th or 9th inning. So the bullpen is in disarray right now for West Virginia. They need to figure that out. Kansas this past weekend, though, their starters were remarkable. The biggest thing coming into the Jayhawks this weekend was that their pitching staff allowed a ton of walks. They allowed the second most walks in the Big 12. They only walked 6 batters for West Virginia this whole weekend, and West Virginia only got 1 stolen base. The Mountaineers couldn't get base runners on because Dominic Vogel, Cooper Moore, and Cannon Carr were all elite for Kansas on the mound, and West Virginia just had no answer. So the Mountaineers are in trouble. They're down to like 27 in the RPI. They're not going to host unless they come back and win it all in Arlington. But then you look at teams like TCU, who got another series win at Utah. Arizona rebounded 2 of 3 at Houston, and it makes for a very enticing Big 12 tournament. If you can zoom in on that bracket just a little bit here as we kind of dive through some of the seedings.
Okay, yeah, I can. Here we go.
So you start on Wednesday. It's single elimination, thank God. BYU and Arizona State is the first matchup. Then you got Texas Tech and Cincinnati. The winner of that gets West Virginia. Winner of BYU, Arizona State gets Arizona. So we could have a Arizona State matchup in this first round, or in the second round. Baylor and Oklahoma State, the winner of that gets Kansas. And then Houston and Kansas State, the winner of that gets TCU. I personally think that the more competitive bracket is the top half. But TCU's coming in hot. Kansas is also coming in hot. Would not surprise me if one of those two runs the table and wins it all, because like you said, it's only 3 games now that you have to play if you're the top 4 seeds. It's the same thing as the SEC. You got to play 3 games. It's a regular weekend rotation, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, which you just had. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I think the Big 12 tournament is actually pretty wide open. In terms of the fact that I could see, a Cincinnati running the table, a Kansas State if things break the right way running the table. So it'll be an interesting week in Arlington. West Virginia traditionally has not done well in the Big 12 championship. They've gone 2 in barbecue the last couple of years. So we'll see with the single elimination format and with how rough their pitching at the back end of the bullpen has been lately, if they can right the ship down in Texas.
I agree. I think Oklahoma State has really started to turn the corner as well. They've won 3 consecutive series, including 2 of those being sweeps this past weekend, sweeping Arizona State in Stillwater, taking 2 of 3 in Waco over Baylor before that, and then winning all 3 at home against UCF the weekend prior. So Oklahoma State, a team that has been down all year long, has rounded into form at the right time, but they're gonna have to win this whole thing. This isn't let's get to the championship game like Texas A&M. I mean, OK State has been way off the radar, off the reservation all year long.
They were predicted to win the Big 12, Shass, in the preseason.
Yeah, and they haven't come close to matching that sort of expectation or preseason prognostication. So that's the Big 10 or Big 12 for you. We're not even going to bother. We've talked enough Big 10. The pool play does not need to grace our screens in any way. Just vomit all over my monitor. We have covered all 4 of the quote unquote major leagues, though. The P4 from the little guys, and I use quotations because there are some big boy Herculean efforts coming out of some of these leagues. Maybe not so much UC Irvine, who is limping into the Big West Championship featuring 5 teams, Big West tournament. I don't think they use the championship phrasing. However, the Sun Belt does. And so does the American. Oh. That's another gripe. Not only the shared regular season championships and just this heinous formatting and double elimination for leagues that feature 4 teams or 8 teams. And I mean, it's just bonkers stuff. But also when we're going to call it's a tournament, you can't call the entire tournament the championship. So the Sun Belt Baseball Championship starts on Tuesday.
12, same thing.
Big 12, same thing. But the Sun Belt Baseball Championship, and I think I'm going to go hunting for that because I've got that one. I've got that one tidy. We've got 3 bids Coastal, Southern Miss, and Troy are all locks. Could we get a fourth if we've got a bid thief? But this event has 2 single elimination games on Tuesday. It's formatted much like the way the SEC tournament had been, where you win your single elimination contest, and then it's going to go to double elimination from there on out. Southern Miss, 15 in a row. Coastal, 14 in a row. Those two appear to be on a collision course. However, I don't feel like the league and the setup of the format really is doing them any sorts of favors by having them play all these other additional games. So let me pull this one up. Window, entire screen, window. I got it here. Hang on. Bear with me. There it is. Share. Look at the monstrosity just visually.
Oh, I've seen it.
How unaesthetically pleasing this thing is, too. It looks like a Apple computer from maybe 1998 that had produced.
Somebody built this in Microsoft Paint.
Yeah.
It is horrible.
It is bad.
It's horrid. And it's also double elimination. So, like, the way this whole bracket is formatted makes zero sense to me.
Well, you got to read the paragraph. So, based on the first 2 games, App State, Texas State. Okay, all right. Well, the lower seeded team will face Coastal Carolina. The higher seeded winner will face Southern Miss, because you want to have Coastal, the one, play the worst remaining team. So it can go a number of different ways. But from there on, it's the gauntlet becomes double elimination all through Sunday, which Sunday will be a winner take all, if I'm not mistaken, as it should be.
But there may be an extra game Saturday if the first team that loses Saturday hasn't lost yet.
Which is different from what
Marshall,
the SEC.
We are broadcasting Marshall baseball for the Sun Belt Championship. So I have been locked into the Sun Belt standings because Marshall went from 11th to 4th in a week. That's what happened to the Thundering Herd baseball team. They were out, and then they are not only in, but they are a top 4 seed in the Sun Belt now. Crazy.
And they swept the lowly Georgia Southern Eagles, RIP, this past weekend. Hate to see it for Rodney Hennon's bunch. Mad respect. If you're wondering why Troy is a lock, I mean, they won every single series this weekend up until they hosted Southern Miss this past weekend. Their RPI is 44. Non-conference RPI is at 17, but still a gaudy record and showing, finishing 3rd in the league standings, just in front of Marshall. And Marshall, based on the way they played here in the second half of the season, they won a series over Southern Miss in Huntington midway through the year, early in the conference season, at least the front half. So, I mean, Marshall could be that team. They're playing who? ULM
Louisiana.
Or Louisiana? ULM's looking for a new coach.
Yeah, they are.
Mike Federico hanging it up. I think it is after 7 years or so. You wonder if that's a good landing spot for somebody like Chris Lemonis if he wants to stay in the game. Or is that beneath him?
I don't want to call it beneath him. I feel like that's rude to ULM. But like, I get what
I'm not
you're
trying
saying.
to insult ULM.
It's a step down for him.
Yeah.
I don't think he needs to go to the Sun Belt and to a lower level Sun Belt team like Louisiana Monroe to get back into coaching. I think he'll get a P4. I mean, I think he'll get a P4 offer somewhere. He's a good coach. Yeah, I mean, the Sun Belt is 3 teams, and somebody needs to come take it from one of those 3: Coastal, Sun Belt, or Coastal, Southern Miss, Troy. Somebody come take it from them. Otherwise, one of them is going to take the automatic bid, and the other 2 are going to go to the NCAA tournament. There's really not a lot more to talk about with that. The Big East we've already mentioned. Creighton winning the regular season title. A share with UConn, even though Creighton won the head-to-head series. Gross. UConn swept their last 6 Big East series, Shass. Swept. Not just one, swept their last 6 Big East series, and they're still a co-champion in the Big East. And then you get this hellacious Big East tournament where they only send 4 teams from the conference, and they still do double elimination. If you're going to do double elim, at least send 8 teams. 4-team double elimination is ridiculous. Like, why? You're just asking for carnage, and that's the why, actually, is because you want somebody other than UConn to win, because they think UConn's a lock, and so they want to get 2 bids, understandably so. And Xavier is one of those teams they're thinking hopefully might get in, because Xavier's among the first 4 out in the latest D1 field of 64 projections, along with UTRGV, Western Kentucky, and Cal Poly. Creighton is among the last 4 in as the Big East gets 2 bids. So the question is, if Xavier wins this tournament against either UConn or Creighton, does Creighton drop out? Like that's the question here.
Yeah.
So like, can the Big East get 3 in? I don't know if there's a scenario where they can, just because, like, what's the Big East Conference RPI? Let's see. Warren Nolan says the Big East Conference RPI. Oh, it's 12th. I don't think there's any way. I think if Xavier wins over UConn or Creighton, then whoever was facing them in the championship game will go, and the other one will be left out on the beaches watching everyone else play in the ocean.
By the way, Warren Nolan is helping everyone out with a conference tournaments tab across the top. You see that?
Oh, no, I did not. I already closed the tab. Hang on.
Yeah, you can scroll through them all. Now it's it's their format, but still, that's pretty clutch that it's all right there.
That's incredible. And you can hit a conference drop down and pick all of these things. Let's look at the Sun Belt. Oh my God, that's all TBD. It's so gross. Oh, you look at the SEC. Oh, so much cleaner. Okay. I love this. And they give you the verses. They give you the seeds.
Yeah.
The times. Oh,
have they updated the
beautiful.
I've already jumped off to RPI. Creighton is sitting at 50 in the RPI. You may have said that, but I didn't hear you.
I didn't.
38 and 14. Okay. 17 and 4 in the Big East. Strength of schedule for Creighton 176. Jesus. They did climb 6 spots over the weekend. But when I was going to look at Big West intel earlier, Cal Poly the 2, Cal State Fullerton the 3, UCSB the 4. I didn't even notice that there was a 5th. That information was not updated on the Big West tournament. This goes back to the gripe that we had during March Madness time, where the American had not updated its teams on its bracket more than 2 days after the end of the regular season, like almost on the eve, I think, of that tournament starting. Might have been on Tuesday. Tournament started on Thursday, so maybe 2 days before. But like, bro, punch the clock. We need brackets. The Big West baseball tournament had not updated its teams and seeds, and that's probably why I did not see that there's a 5th team that's playing on there, just because I didn't see any team names. And then Warren Nolan with those conference tournament,
they haven't done it.
Toggles, they haven't had it updated either. So
there is an interactive bracket now, but it still doesn't have the seeds. The team just has the seeds.
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
I mean, it's their first year doing this. I get it. Like, hey, maybe you don't know, but how about you take cues from your peers? Okay, this shouldn't be your first rodeo.
Big West.
Although it is, I won't allow it.
I mean, it's not. They ran a tournament 4 times back in the day.
It's just awful. I hate it.
Oh boy. Anyways, that's okay. Big East, Big West. CUSA, Dallas Baptist, them boys from DBU, they win it. Western Kentucky lost 2 of 3 at home to Jacksonville State.
What are we doing?
Bro, the Hilltoppers got swept by FIU and lose 2 of 3 to Jacksonville State at the end of the year. They're out. I mean, I think they're, what are they?
Yeah, they're
first 4 out. They're first 4 out. But yeah, they got to win it. CUSA is a 1-bid league. Like, they got to win it.
Jacksonville State's RPI went up 18 spots to 74.
Yeah, what's their strength of schedule?
Oh, God. Oh, give it to me. 84.
It's only 84?
Yeah, it's not terrible.
Wow, good for Jacksonville State. Okay.
84. They are they've got 8 losses, quad 3 and 4.
Oh,
4
Western
and 13
Kentucky
in
strength
quad
of schedule, 189.
Okay, I'm trying to I don't want to do the control F. I'm trying to run into it. I like to just ram into it. You know, I like to just run into it. I don't like to work smarter, but I got it. Well, something I do when I'm not on the phone or video, whatever the hell this is with you. Right? Trying to flex my testosterone levels and vaporize you from my screen. If that makes any sense. 48.
No.
I got it. 189?
Yeah.
Is that what you told me?
Yes.
I had to see it for myself. Holy shit.
It's so bad.
Dude,
And
this
they
team
lost
is the
2 series they couldn't have lost.
but they're still on the bubble according to D1.
I guess. I don't know
Oh,
how.
hey, I'm calling
There's
Joe
no way
Healy.
on earth.
Gosh.
We got to talk to Healy and Etheridge when we get to Hoover and be like,
Well,
dude,
as Healy
how?
said, I was watching. Joe Healy gave me 45 incredible minutes on Sunday's SEC weekend waypoints. All right, he did 4 consecutive days of this thing. Gave us a Sunday episode. He teed up and teased the field to 60. That's how I knew it was coming out. And
Got it.
us podcasting reminded me, and I was like, wait a second, let me check this. He defers to Etheridge. He defers to Kendall Rogers and Aaron Fitt on that stuff. He's not as plugged in.
I'm gonna call
on
Kendall
that,
Rogers tonight and be like, bro, what? Why? Tell me why. Tell me, please. I need to know. I'm gonna send him an email and be like, hey, man, give me the answer. I left a conference off the dock, which I don't even know if you're on the dock right now. But
wait, hang on. Don't tell me. Is it the American?
No.
Is it the Coastal?
Yeah.
Athletic?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Northeastern.
24 straight. They are the one.
Lose.
They didn't lose. Did not lose to NCAA.
Holy
one
crap.
of those games was tight though. I think it was 8-6.
Yeah.
I think 13-0 was the finale win.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken.
12-0.
Okay, 12.
12-0. But they got their 16th shutout of the year, the 10th most in NCAA history. 16 shutouts.
That's where I was going next. Okay, hang on. I got it. Let me download it because, this ain't a sure thing. Yeah, this ain't a sure thing now. We talked about they can't blow it.
Let me give you the details on Northeastern then as you do that. So they're the number 25 team in the country, 45-9, 25-2 in the Coastal Athletic Association, a new program record for single season wins, their 24th straight victory as they sweep North Carolina A&T. The Huskies, for the first time since 1973, finished with single-digit losses in the regular season. And they're just the second 25-win team in CAA history. UNCW is the only other one back in 2008. Northeastern is your number 1 seed as they open play on Thursday at 3 o'clock on Flow College, which apparently is what Flow Sports is called now, as they go down to Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, for the CAA baseball tournament. Not championship. Tournament.
Tournament, as it should be. A tournament, not a championship. The championship is the final day where we crown a winner. Okay?
Correct.
God. Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. Thank you. That's a deep cut. I was hoping I could impress you with that geographic knowledge, but you stole my thunder. 2 seed is UNCW. 3 seed is Charleston. 4 seed is Campbell. I've got it presented on the screen now for those that are watching. Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers on YouTube. For those that are listening, you're welcome. Okay? We gave you everything you need to know. However, if you're a Northeastern fan, there is no at-large. I really don't think there is. There is not. So this conference is weighing you down. Yeah, you got to win the whole thing. And this is another one where just ludicrous stuff. Why are we doing a double elimination right out of the get-go with this thing? Protect these leagues, these mid-major leagues need to do a better job of protecting their number 1 team, because they can't get cocky or arrogant thinking that they're going to have these once every 10 years type season, or once every 5, if we're being more pleasant about the situation and the state of these leagues. Just being a realist, you're not going to have 2 teams that are worth. This isn't the Sun Belt. And you've seen what's happened to the American over the last couple of years. And even with ECU being as good as they have been under Cliff Godwin, they just barely get into the American this year. But even when they were winning the regular season, they haven't been winning the American championship. But they put together a good enough regular season, right, to be an at-large, to host regionals, hell, to host a super against Texas a couple of years ago. These teams aren't ECU. These teams aren't DBU. All right, you may get there at one point, but let's do a better job of protecting our own is what I'm getting at. And I know you're giving the bye to Northeastern. Okay, you're giving the bye to UNCW. Those 2 teams are the only ones. It's a 6-team tournament. But if we have 6 teams, why are we doing double elimination?
Correct.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Northeastern has a RPI of 26, but their strength of schedule is 182. They're only 6-5 against quad 1 and quad 2. Those aren't metrics outside of the RPI to get you into the field of 64.
There's too many unknowns. There's too many
unknowns. I know
unknowns.
you won 45 games, the most wins of any team in college baseball, Northeastern, by the way. 45 wins, one more than Coastal Carolina, who had 44. So props to Northeastern for having the most wins in college baseball right now. That's amazing. But it doesn't matter. You don't win the CAA, you're not going to the tournament. Your RPI is going to plummet like 20 spots, and you're done. Like,
and look,
that's it.
This isn't gospel. We may eat crow, but if you're Northeastern, you don't want to see that situation rear itself where you are sitting on pins and needles praying to the NCAA Baseball Division I committee and the regional advisory councils who are helping to feed data to the committee to make a strong, educated decision, which, by the way, the committee chair this year is from Southeastern.
Yep.
And Southeastern is out of the Southland. Spoiler. Yeah. We'll talk about them more in a moment. But it's just, you're waiting on too much help and too many other automatic bids to be secured by the favorite and the number one seed elsewhere. And that's just not the reality of the situation. UTSA has to take care of business. I mean, yes. they'll be in, but the American can become a 2-bit. I think so. 42-11, 23-4 in the league. What's their RPI right now? We looked at their
22,
RPI last
but their
week.
Strength of schedule is 117.
Well, I mean, if they go 0-2, they're in trouble. If they go 0-2, they're in trouble.
Right. Now they are 11-6 against quad 1 and quad 2. That's better metrics.
Yeah.
So I'll give them that.
Let's say they win 2 games, okay? Maybe they don't make it to the weekend, but they make 2 games. If they don't win that championship, the American now becomes a 2-bid league and never would have been a 2-bid league without that. If somebody other than USM, Coastal, or Troy wins the Sun Belt, now it's a 4-bid league. If somebody other than Irvine wins the Big West, like Cal Poly, might still be a 1-bid league. Might. No, Irvine's getting in. I think
Irvine's in.
Yeah.
Irvine's in. They've played a tough enough schedule. Yeah. They're 12-6 against quad 1 and quad 2, 73 strength of schedule, non-conference strength of schedule of 18, 24th in the RPI. I think they've done enough to get in.
No, yeah, absolutely. Brain fart on my part, okay? Forgive me, Anteaters. I'm going to go throw on a Eater shirt after this. I might wear it for the trip tomorrow. No, I don't.
How about the shirt that I'm wearing, Kyle Schassburger?
I noticed that. Can you tell me?
They will come.
Tell me about your shirt, big dog.
Yeah, so this shirt is from a great website and a great partner of ours called Baseball Barbecue. Kyle Schassburger, I know you've heard of it. We have the tools, and we want you all to have these tools as well. Go to baseballbarbecue.com and use the code. Shh, it's a secret. Use the code 3D-20, 3D-20, and it gets you 20% off of your order. All right. Now, what is Baseball Barbecue for those uninitiated? They make patented baseball bat handle barbecue tools licensed for the best teams in college baseball. Most of the teams that are going to be in the postseason are on Baseball Barbecue already, and they're adding more by the second. They've added another one right now. Fun and functional Baseball Barbecue products are perfect for casual fans or serious grillers. Make sure you go to baseballbarbecue.com and find the perfect grilling gift for the college baseball fans in your life. Again, 20% off your purchase by using the code 3D-20. You can find them on social media. For TikTok, it's at baseball_barbecue, as well as Instagram. Twitter, it's baseball BBQ. Facebook, it's baseball barbecue, all spelled out. You can find them all over social media. Go get their stuff. We have it. We use it. We love it. 3D-20 gets you 20% off on your order. And you can get a cool shirt like this. If you grill it, they will come.
It's a beautiful t-shirt. It makes you look like such a handsome devil. Kahn, I'm going to pull rank. We've hit our quota, our allotment in time for the podcast. However, we still have the Patriot League, Southland to clean up with some dudes, hat tips, SDAs, all that. We're going to break now, come back, finish the show. No more than 20 more minutes here on Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers.
A true teammate takes on every day with a winner's attitude, gets up when they fall down, and leaves it all on the field. There's a group of teammates who do all these things every single day. But they're more than your typical athlete. They're kids dealing with unthinkable medical circumstances. Team Impact matches children facing serious illness or disability with college sports teams, creating a long-term, life-changing experience for everyone involved. Help us get all kids in the game. Visit teamimpact.org. Team Impact. All in, all together.
College softball season is in full swing. and we're just the ones to talk about it. Join me, former Florida Gators All-American Amanda Lorenz, and my co-host, Jenna Becerra, every week as we deliver the latest in college softball on the D1 Softball Podcast. We've got all the latest, whether it is in the circle or in the batter's box. We have interviews with coaches, players, and more. We'll go through the week's top 25 poll and give our insights, as well as our plays, wins, and whiffs of the week. Let us get you in the know on all things college softball. Listen on d1softball.com and the Varsity Network app.
Schassburger, David Kahn here, Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers. I had to go grab myself a beverage during that last commercial. What an amazing move by me. Fire the spot,
Cheers.
run to the fridge. Cheers to you, my friend. Got a Voodoo Ranger Imperial IPA, New Belgium. This thing is thick and heavy. Check out the koozie. Just tap it in. Just tap it in.
Did you see the crocodile died?
Yeah. All right.
From the movie?
Man. Yeah.
Dude.
He got Chubb's hand. First, it was Chubb's a couple of years ago.
I know.
Uncle of one of my classmates in high school, too.
Happy Gilmore 2's coming out soon, though.
It is. It is. I'm worried. I don't want to have too high expectations.
I know. I don't want it to get ruined, but I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be good.
I just hope we find a decent movie to watch Saturday night in Hoover.
Oh,
one that doesn't include private parts getting severed and other despicable behavior.
That movie was so bad.
What the hell? This is like the third time we've talked about it since, and we can never offhand remember the name of it. And that's probably a good thing. At least we know never to recommend it. But I would rather keep people away from it if we can recall. Who's the idiot guy who pretends they pretend to be like Hotel Bellman, but like
yeah,
that guy's like
they're trying to stop like a heist inside this hotel. And they are like the Russian spies are coming in, and these dudes just kind of take things into their own hands. You got it.
So as you were talking, I'm typing in every buzzword that you got. This isn't Chat GPT. This is just me typing in the Google machine. Netflix dumb comedy heist inside hotel, Russian spies. Boom. Movie is Game Over.
Yes, that was it. That was the one, and it was awful.
You described it beautifully, though. God, I love the internet. The internet is undefeated.
Yeah, the internet is undefeated forever and always. We just need to watch Bad Dads again, honestly. Like,
Bad Dads was awesome.
No. It was like it wasn't Bad Dads. That was the one we didn't watch. There was another one that we watched that was really good. There was old grandpa guy that was hilarious, and I can't remember the name of the movie now. But it was awesome.
Was it De Niro in that?
Yeah, De Niro. De Niro was in it. He was the grandpa.
And Efron, right? And
Efron. And they were at spring break. Dirty Grandpa. Oh, God. Great movie.
Got it. I just put in De Niro, Efron into the internet. Again, undefeated. World Wide Web, baby. Never let you down. World Wide Web will never let you down. I'll tell you, that's the best invention of the 21st, 20th century.
20th century. There you go. You know who did? Yeah. You know who did let us down? The top two seeds in the Southland, UT Rio Grande Valley and Southeastern Louisiana.
So we got the 8 and 6 remaining.
Yeah. New Orleans, the 8 seed, and who beat Northwestern State, the 4 seed, to get into the championship series. And then Houston Christian beat UT Rio Grande Valley in the championship game to get to the championship series. UTRGV's RPI is down to 44. Dicey to get into the tournament. Currently, they are the first team out, according to D1 Baseball. Southeastern's RPI is down to 57. They're likely out of the NCAA tournament. So you're going to have Houston Christian or New Orleans. So bid thievery, maybe, if UTRGV gets in the Southland Conference. Man, I did not see that coming, Shass. I did not see that coming at all. That UTRGV would get to the championship game and lose, and that Southeastern would. Did they go 0-2? No. They won a game. They went 1-2 and lost.
Southeastern softball, thumbs up. They beat LSU not one time but twice. Knocking off the 9
Lion up, baby. Lion up.
In the Baton Rouge Regional. Good on Southeasterns. The softball has been tremendous. It's underway this weekend, regionals. I don't know. There should be maybe a couple of games Monday. Maybe not. Okay. All right.
I think. I don't know.
Okay, so the Southland has just become unhinged, and we will deal with what is a championship series.
Yep.
Because for those following at home that might have trouble understanding, and if you weren't with us on Thursday, these were two
Shame on
separate
you.
brackets. Yeah, shame on you. I did the head of lettuce on Tuesday. Then Thursday, we were on hyper speed. We did the best podcast ever, and it was in like 33 minutes. It was amazing. And we had no guests. It was just us entertaining a nation. Thank you. Two separate brackets, two separate campuses, both the 1 and the 2, each one that was hosting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Eliminated in their unique bracket championships. But that now gives us 2 winners to come to the table this upcoming week. Thursday, Friday, Saturday? You got the schedule?
That's right. Yep, that's right.
Where
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and they are playing at Houston Christian University in Houston.
And is that because they're the 6?
Yes.
This isn't predetermined stuff. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Meanwhile, the Patriot League, speaking of
Gotta-
championship series,
Had to wait a day. And boy,
Had to wait
Holy
till
Cross made
today.
the most of it.
12-1 winner. Holy Cross wins game 1. I thought Army was going to sweep. I was wrong. Apologies to Holy Cross. The Crusaders, right? Is that their mascot? I believe.
I
Is
think
that
so,
correct?
yeah.
Yes, Holy Cross Crusaders. My apologies. Congratulations on a big victory. Game 2 is Monday, tomorrow, if you're listening to this live, 6:05 p.m. Game 3, if necessary, Tuesday at 5:05 on the campus of Holy Cross. There you go.
I am distracted by pulling up the schedule page for LSU Shreveport. So remember how we were giving them their flowers over the way their athletic webpage? This can't be sidearm.
Yeah.
I've just never seen anything.
Sidearm catching a stray.
Well, not necessarily, Con. Come on, don't put me out there too far. Maybe a little bit, but because I don't know the full functionality of this, I don't have a problem with the sidearm websites. And really, I love the look. Duke had just redone theirs in the past year, and
no, they do great stuff.
Represent so many of our school partners under the Learfield umbrella, sidearm and offshoot, or a main component, ancillary, a friend, friend of us, an ally with everything that they do.
Yeah.
But I know by looking at the LSU Shreveport website, and we talked about when you hover over the sports, I'm shifting now to NAIA as we get even more obscure following the Southland and the Patriot League. We're dropping multiple divisions here to the NAIA because LSU Shreveport is competing in the NAIA World Series, and they went 54-0. One of their counterparts in the state, and I got Khan's attention with this, which reminded me of Shreveport's run that we had to check in, and I'm doing that for you now. But LSU,
I DM'd it to you.
I thought I sent it to you.
No, I DM'd you Shreveport right back.
Oh, but I knew that. I knew they were 50.
Oh, okay.
I knew they hadn't lost yet.
Got it.
We just hadn't talked about it. But LSU Eunice, 53-5, still a gaudy ass record. They don't make it to the World Series. What is with these LSU NAIA teams? They won their district, lost in the regional, I think to Delgado. Either way, 53-5, my God. Then you look at Shreveport, 54-0, and they're playing for the World Series. But I'm looking at the website, and when you hover over the sports, we brought this up earlier in the year when we were documenting their start when they were like 33-0 and just mauling everyone. They continued to do so even months later. And you hover over sports, you'll see men's sports, women's sports, club sports. They have the national ranking next to each one of those teams, which is very cool and unique. You click on their schedule page. I did not realize this the last time we talked. This is my long-winded way, as I often am, in telling you to look at their schedule page, Con, and look at the way they display the finals. And then they give headshots of like their 3 stars with a stat nugget.
I'm going.
So you'll see like the final game that they had played before they play Grandview coming up on Friday, May 23rd in the World Series.
Bass fishing? That's awesome.
Yeah.
They have
club sport.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it is pretty
I like
unique.
This.
Yeah. So
That's
you got your
cool.
leader
I
in
want to know
hits,
about
runs, RBI.
bass fishing for club sports at LSU Shreveport. They call them, instead of the roster, they call them the anglers. That's awesome.
Oh, that's rad.
Oh, that's so cool.
Man, I want one of those hoodies, man. Some nice fishing hoodies. I just clicked on the anglers. Oh, they got a guy that looks like Tommy White, Ian Carter.
Oh, bro, I do want one of those hoodies. Ian Carter, a junior. Yes. All right, a quick scan here. I need you to tell me what Braden Nichols would be doing for a living if he wasn't an angler for LSU Shreveport.
Yeah, Braden Nichols, senior on the bass fishing team for LSU Shreveport. He looks like a future optometrist.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be
doctor. Yep.
He's definitely going to be prescribing some meds.
Yep. Yep. 100%.
He is from Blanchard, Louisiana. He's senior. There's not much on the bios for these guys. That's
fine. That's fine.
okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What is an optometrist? Are they the ones who look in my mouth or my ears or both? Or my eyes?
Eyes.
Okay.
It's your eyes.
I thought it was eyes, but then I started second guessing myself. Yeah, he's checking my eyes. I need to hit him up for a pair of new glasses.
You have great glasses. I like your glasses.
Yeah, but they're losing some of the tinting on the top, some of the protective coating. So, if you look close enough, I'm starting to get self-conscious here, but it's losing some of the blue tinty and basically the purpose of it, it's losing its luster, if you will, its effectiveness, and you can tell. And so I've had these for like 3-4 years. Okay. Levi Thibodeau. What is Levi? Look at Levi Thibodeau.
I did look at Levi Thibodeau. I almost picked him.
He looks like somebody who would wear a pair of Levi's.
Oh yeah, he does. And he probably is at the bottom half of that photo. Let's be honest.
There was a
Greensboro. Only see the top half.
There was a Greensboro Grasshopper. This was in Friday night's game, but I had the intel for Saturday. Lonnie White Jr., leadoff man, led off the game. First minor league game I ever did.
Congrats on your minor league debut.
Yeah, I guess that was my minor league debut. He and first independent league game ever. I had a couple of debuts, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never done indie ball.
I've
only done minor league ball.
I only do college, man. It's different, it's fine. I had a whirl of a time. Everybody was very pleasant. But Lonnie White Jr. apparently in Friday's game, he hit a leadoff home run in the bottom of the first inning, hit it off the Wranglers sign at left center field. Only the third person. Well, it's right over in terms of climbing over the left center field wall, but the sign isn't that far off the top of the wall, but still it's like hitting the bowl for a steak at the D-bat. That's a more impressive bomb because although you are pulling it, but you need to carry over the fence a lot further. This one might only climb over the fence, 10 feet, and you could hit it. And he hit the baseball attached to the Wrangler sign, and it says if you hit it here, you get a free pair of jeans. So he got a free pair of jeans, and he's only the third one ever to hit that thing.
Oh,
so that was pretty cool.
That's awesome. All right, well, good for him. Good for Lonnie White Jr. Good for you as well, by the way. You're over under on Missouri Conference wins. You win by a squeaker because they only got 3. You bet it was 3.5. You took the under.
I was starting to sweat last week when they swept in College Station.
I know. As you
I had to apply deodorant 5 times throughout the day this week instead of just the usual 3.
Oh boy. You want to tell people about the upcoming show that we've got going on?
Yeah, I don't know where we are on this doc. I'm ready to go to Hoover. Can we just go now?
Yeah, I mean, let's just tell me about the show. We can give a dude and a hat tip on the way out the door.
I understand that. You're missing my point. I'm saying, why do we have to go to sleep? Let's finish the show. Okay, we got 5 minutes.
Let's just get him to wake up.
Let's just get in the car and go. What are we waiting
Gabe's
for?
up. You know Gabe's up. He's a late night guy. You guys spent many late nights down in the lobby in Greenville, just going to town on your basketball charts.
Yeah.
So let's go. I'm ready. I'm packed.
I've got a lot of town going down to do. Okay, going down to. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yes, I do.
I'll tell you, I got an Imperial IPA here. I've had 4 sips and I'm already feeling it. So, the regional show, May 30th. That is a week from this upcoming Friday. So, as we record and as you inject this podcast into your veins, either late overnight Sunday or first thing on Monday, we are inside of 14 days, roughly 11, 12, depending on when you're listening. May 30th through June 2nd, wall-to-wall coverage of the opening round of the Division I Baseball Championship. NFL Red Zone channel, Think of that, the TV version, as you watch and subscribe to Everything NFL on a Sunday via the NFL Network and the Red Zone channel. Think of that for the radio. Think of that for college baseball. We are doing it. We are doing it around the clock from 11 a.m., from 1 p.m. to 11. Right? What are my times?
Yeah.
I'm already
Yeah.
butchering
1 to
the
11.
times. 1 to 11. 1 to 11 is the plan. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Monday, TBD, and whatever remaining games we have. But we're doing it for 4 consecutive days. We're going to drop in on the hometown radio call of every participating team that we possibly can. Last year, we secured 60 of those 64 radio feeds. The only reason why we didn't get the other 4 for the other 4 participants of the 64-team field is because they didn't do radio. It's not that they wouldn't give it to us. So this includes more than just our beloved friends of Learfield and all our partners. This is those that might be frenemies more than actual allies, but still mad respect for the product, the show, the high-level quality stuff we're pushing out regional weekend. Everyone wants to be a part of it. Trust me, everyone. You want to, too. We even got a pretty sick new logo that will be debuting that you'll see right there in the Varsity Network app.
Yes.
When you go to find it.
I put the events in this morning. Let's go.
I didn't get an email back on that. Did I? What do you mean you put the events in?
I looked back to last year. Ben just had me do it myself, so I just did it.
Oh, he reached out to you?
No, last year when we were doing this, I did it because I emailed them the same email you did, and he said just put them on the calendar yourself. So I just did it.
Okay.
I have an email scheduled to go out tomorrow saying, hey, I just did this.
All right.
I don't want to send them an email on a Sunday. They deal with enough.
Okay, I trust you. Oh, I'm notorious for Sunday emails because I always know none of them are ever going to get answered. So I feel like I can say whatever I want and feel like I threw the first punch and that they're going to have to think about it. And it's going to simmer and eat at them. I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm on top of it.
Yeah, so
Anyways,
we're good.
Check us out.
Wait.
Regional Rundown, May 30th through June 2nd, live and exclusively on the Varsity Network app, round to round, wall to wall coverage of all 16 regional sites. So it's going to be epic.
Yes, it will be epic. All right, let's start to wrap up the show here, my guy. Let's
please,
go to dudes.
Please, I've got to pack.
And SDAs. You got to pack, you got to prep, you got to do all the things. I was productive today. You were productive in other things in your life, which is fine. So my dude, we'll start there. I'm giving it to Braden Simpson. You know where he plays? Right in your neck of the woods for the High Point Panthers. Yes. Yes, he plays for the Panthers. He had his 20th home run of the season on Friday night when High Point was at Winthrop. And that broke the Big South record for homers in a single season for the High Point Panthers as they hit 125 on the season. High Point is second in the nation in home runs with 125, only behind Georgia at 132. So props to them. Braden Simpson, by the way, tied for 11th in the nation himself in home runs, now with 20. So Braden Simpson, for breaking a record, my dude of the week.
Would you like some beautiful Georgia home run nuggets related to that since you brought them up? Sure. 132, 5 times Georgia has started a game with a home run. Slade Alford 3 times, Ryan Black twice. They've had 3 walk-offs. 8 times they've had multiple home run guys. 6 times they've gone back-to-back. Just for a few notes. I won't continue to bore you with that because I know we're talking High Point. But it's in the doc for you when you get to see Georgia, okay? The SEC tournament con. That trend is updated on the team page towards the top, so I got you. But yes, I've been well aware of Simpson's swag, including High Point. And I'm pulling for the Panthers, man. I mean, why not? The men making it in the tournament, March Madness. Mm-hmm. I think this is the year.
They knocked out Vandy last year.
They got there. Yes, they knocked down Vanderbilt. I mean, High Point, this isn't new. Like, High Point isn't just bursting onto the scene in any sort of way. I mean, they got dudes. And Braden Simpson is one of the biggest illustrations of that. If I were to choose a dude, I'm trying to go through some of my bookmarks. I would probably just go with Will McIntyre. Will McIntyre, who has been one of my dudes, or SDAs, or hat tips, and several different iterations of it throughout the season for Arkansas. The latest, I think, was part of what is the Will McIntyre legacy game, for sure. He was lights out first half of the year last year fizzled, maybe got worn down, maybe was used a little bit too much, was not the same guy at the end of the year. He was up and down even prior to that in 2023. But here in 2025, during a season in which he could have easily gotten phased out completely by some of the other arms that he's surrounded by, he has picked, not that he's picking and choosing his spots, but DVH has set him up for success in the right moments, and his energy and his swagger and his fire has come through brilliantly. And against Tennessee this past weekend, the cameras caught him mouthing some pretty mammoth, monumental expletives, each starting with the letter F, towards the Tennessee players after certain strikeouts or play. I forget what exactly it was, but this was repurposed. So this is going to combine to become my social display of affection as well, because it's pretty obvious what McIntyre was saying as he was hyping himself up and, really shoving on the mound. And it was awesome because Arkansas lost game one, came back, won each of the next two, these high-level games in Fayetteville. Massive respect between these two. A lot of people will say Tony Vitello and DVH hate each other, but no, Vitello was on DVH's staff, right? If I'm not mistaken, back in the day.
Yeah.
So there is there's much more respect than and there's respect between Vandy and Tennessee, but we documented all that last week. I think there's a certain reverence in terms of pupil and mentor and mentee between these two, but it was repurposed by Arkansas social media, and so this combines as my SDA. And I'll give my hat tip as well, because why not? Arkansas wins 20 games in an SEC season. Again, they are the number 2 seed in the event coming up in Hoover, and social media team repurposed it, saying what Will McIntyre was saying and screaming, and it was more of a woo pig suey. They were putting a weird audio track underneath, which obviously was not him and not what he was saying, but making it appear as if he was saying woo pig suey and go Arkansas. So I thought that was pretty clever. Content team has been on fuego most of the season, and they continue to do so there.
Yes, totally agree. Well done to use that for all three. I will go quickly here. Social display of affection. I need to share my screen very quickly here because you are going to love this. So West Virginia's Robbie Porco, who's kind of been back and forth dealing with injuries, mostly uses a reliever this year. His NIL page was discovered here, Kyle Schassburger, and here's the only offering that he has on his NIL page. Can you see this, or do I need to zoom in some more?
I did see this, and I'm glad you sniped it to bring it to the show. Yeah, it's just to hang out for $1.
Yes, it is hang out for $1. That is what it is. But actually, he was asked about this in a media interview after Friday's game, and he said that he actually was in a meeting as a part of the student advisory committee at West Virginia with his fellow Mountaineer baseball teammate, and they were telling them how to use the program Influencer, which is how you can list your NIL opportunities. And he was just futzing around and just said, screw it, I'm going to make this, and just made it in 2 seconds and forgot about it. This was like 15 months ago when they were first able to log in and do this stuff, and just kind of forgot about it. Nobody ever noticed it. And then for some reason it surfaced this past weekend, and somebody goes, well, how many people have you gotten to come ask you to come hang out? And he goes, 0. Nobody.
That's awesome. Incredible.
Nobody has wanted to pay $1 to get Robbie Porco to come hang out with him, which I feel kind of bad for the man. I'm sure he's a great guy to hang out with. But it was just
I'd pay him $1. I'd pay him 10.
Yeah.
Pay him 10.
So there's my SDA. My reverse hat tip. It's a reverse hat tip. I'm flipping off my hat in disgust at the sharing of a conference tournament title. And we've already talked about this at length. So I'm not going to go on my soapbox again because it's time to go home or get back to we're getting ready for Hoover. So just a proverbial flip of my hat in disgust at conference tournament title sharing. One winner. That's it. That's all. Everybody else, take your ball and go home.
I'm with you 100%, man. Just to clean up on the Michael Federico stuff, another opening, ULM. Kendall Rogers said that ULM should kick the tires on a guy like Mike Silva, too, who left Nichols to go to Arkansas State after last year. Would he leave A-State after just one season? Geographically, does seem like a good fit. Federico was there for 8 seasons, 172, 227, and 1. And ULM has strong tradition. They have great facilities in Louisiana, and there are some strong regional rivalries down there. The problem is with a lot of the mid-major schools, they're not all in the same league anymore. At least ULM is in there with Louisiana, but Louisiana Tech playing CUSA, and it's hard. Nichols playing in the Southland, right? So it's difficult. So we'll see what ULM does as another opening has popped up here since we last spoke on Thursday. All right, that's it for this week's show. we will return. And when we do, we will have a bracket. Field of 64. 64 teams on one sheet of paper. We will know who won every conference tournament. We will know who each of the 16 regional hosts are. We will have your 8 national seeds. We will have those teams that were on the bubble and were left out of the field. The what ifs, all of the stories, all of the ups and downs of the week that is conference tournament week, and the NCAA tournament bracket will be ours to take you through coming up on Tuesday after Memorial Day. At least that'll be the plan. He's David Kahn. I'm Kyle Schassburger. We're one half of the crew in Hoover. Make sure you listen to us. Tim Bickford, Gabe Genovese will be the others. The 4 of us will have the fort locked down at the Hoover Met for 15 games in total starting on Tuesday morning. Sirius XM Radio. Check your local listings, especially for the affiliates in the South. But the Varsity Network app is where you can tune us in. SEC Network, 4 of us will have every game this week in Hoover. Can't wait. Make sure you download the Varsity Network app. Hoover.